the advert bit of it.
Yes. Shall I just dive straight in and get on with it?
Yeah, go on.
This week's episode of Quality Irrelevant is brought to you by Findus Crispy Pancakes. What do you want for dinner? A small pouch of reconstituted gristle and tendons? Eat Findus Crispy Pancakes. A batter wallet loosely filled with hot, salty garbage? Eat Findus Crispy Pancakes. A pocket of fat stuffed with misery, despair, and possibly some rubbish bacon? Eat Findus Crispy Pancakes. Findus Crispy Pancakes, the food for when you lose all hope.
I'm definitely going to have to mute my audio through that. Because there's just like rustling and laughter and stuff.
Was the rustling you getting some Findus Crispy Pancakes out?
I have actually never sampled them. I suppose I shouldn't say that on the podcast. We're supposed to lie and say, oh yes, I have them every meal.
Oh, I'm eating them right now.
How do you feel about your life?
I hate it. I want it to be over. That's why I'm eating Findus Crispy Pancakes, in the hope that it'll clog my heart up.
Are they really that bad? Like, how bad are we talking? Are they sort of the chicken breaded drumstick things you give to your kids, which basically is just like crushed chicken kneecaps with like some rotting frozen breadcrumbs? Or is it more sort of like your frozen pizza average? Like, not enjoyable, but you can eat it.
From what I remember, I haven't had them in a very long time, but from what I remember, they're sort of like very small calzone, but terrible, covered in what could loosely be called breadcrumbs and full of essentially sludge. I mean, I shouldn't be saying all of this because they are our sponsor this week. So I enjoy Findus Crispy Pancakes for when I have nothing left in life.
Yeah, suck the meat sludge out of the gristle packet.
I think that's as good a slogan as any.
Right, fuck it, let's get into the middle of it. I'm gonna begin in an unorthodox way, right? The theme of this week is old.
We have topics on this podcast?
Well, sometimes. That is the thing this week. It is old. Everything is old themed, alright? So that is the angle that we're going with.
Just everything is old.
Or maybe it's not old enough, Phil.
I think you should make your mind up.
It's all gone wrong already. Oh, God. Anyway, no, it's all fine. It's all good. I am embracing the spirit of old, and I am going out into the world to educate the kids, the youth. Because, Phil, I don't know if you know this, by today's standards, we are old.
Are we?
We are dying.
When did that happen?
We are decrepit.
When did we become old?
I think when we turned 22.
That was a long time ago.
I know, so we're extra old now. We're like the ancients. We get to tell the new peoples what the world used to be like.
I mean, I was going to argue with you about the fact that we are old, but we are both drinking whiskey, which is a typical old man drink.
Yes. It means you are old at heart, and you are old of soul, and old of body, because you're older than 22.
Old of liver, because you've drunk too much whiskey.
And your brain is like a wet sponge. It doesn't react to things. I just tried to click my fingers, and I just got like a soft, muffled patting sound. My hands could fall off at any moment. My bones shall turn to dust. My skin is like old papyrus.
Our bodies are failing us on a daily basis.
Well, they're not. It's just there are young people now who get to influence the world because they get to put themselves online and be like, oh, look how young we are. So whilst we thought we were not old, we have become old because of this embrace of the young. Which you're not allowed to do, by the way. You get arrested for doing that, naughty boy.
For embracing the young.
Don't, okay? We can't say that on the podcast. You shouldn't do it.
Alright, do you hear that, viewers? Stop embracing the young. You're not allowed. Dirty.
So, I am embracing the spirit of old, and I have left my dungeon, and I am out in the streets of Basingstoke, and I've dusted off my old ice cream van that I commandeered somehow, and I am going round the streets playing the tinkly tonkly little tune that comes out and educating the youth in the old ways, what used to excite us when we were young. So I have been serving up VHSs and cassette tapes. I've got this nice little machine here that you get sort of a wafer cone under it, and then you pull a lever, and then magnetic cassette tape just kind of spools out. And if anyone else is feeling particularly adventurous, I can put a flake in the top of that and serve that up, and it is 99p.
I like that. It's bringing back a lot of memories for me. You know, like when you were younger and it was like a hot summer's day.
Yeah.
And you were tired out from like poking a frog with a stick.
A dead frog.
Dead frog, obviously, and finding porn in a bush.
Bush porn.
But analog porn. It was on paper.
Well, I mean, it wasn't quite paper so much as like thin, rain-damaged, suspectly stained old rag that was once paper.
Yeah, but then you're having great fun with all of your friends, but you need something to cool down, and you go to the ice cream van, you hear the tinkly-tonkly music, you run there, you just run, like you might fall over and scrape your little knee poking out of your shorts, and you get a little graze on your knee.
But you don't even feel it.
And then you would run and you would go, "Oh, hello, mister, can I have a cone of VHS?" And they just unspool a VHS tape directly into your waffle cone and then stick a flake in it, and it costs you less than your week's pocket money.
And there was Hey Arnold on the telly. Remember that?
I remember Hey Arnold.
I remember tellies.
I remember when tellies were big at the back.
Yeah, they were big at the back and had those two things that came out at the top, or it's sometimes in a loop.
And you only had 5 channels.
And we had that song on the radio.
The one song.
I don't remember any songs.
No, I don't either.
Yeah, anyway, so we need to educate the youth. So I've been out in my ice cream van, confusing the youth and delighting the hipsters, and they love it. I am making a massive loss, unfortunately.
Well, VHS tapes are kind of vintage, bit expensive now.
Yeah, and I've priced everything sort of on par with 1992. So, yeah, God, we've really fucked over the economy in the past few decades.
Yeah, we had it good back then, back when we were young.
Yeah, I am making a huge loss. But still, I feel like I'm bringing something. It's like a museum on wheels. Unfortunately, I can't drive too well. I'm drinking a lot of whiskey, and it's a bit of a shame. I may have to retreat back to my dungeon at some point. There's a lot of children's blood staining the headlights.
Well, I feel, if anything, that is just era appropriate.
Oh, yes, exactly.
Because you never saw an ice cream truck or ice cream van, whatever the vehicle was that you put ice cream in. You never saw one without blood stains on the hubcaps.
No, it was a better time.
And a driver out of his mind on hard liquor, swerving through the streets at very, very low speeds, all the while the thing was playing Green Sleeves.
It was a better time because now, you see, the kids with their video games, they're inside at the computer screen, not outside like we were, or inside playing our video games in front of the TV with our consoles.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that's changed is they have better video games now.
I am so jealous of their video games. Son of a bitch.
Also, I think they might be safer because I feel like a lot of the ice cream men might have been a bit dodgy. I feel like if the kids are inside playing their video games, there's much less chance of them going out and getting a bit sort of paedophiled. You don't want your kids to get paedophiled. And if they go out, then they almost definitely will.
I disagree with you, Phil. I consider that to be a rite of passage, a milestone. When you are paedophiled as a young boy, that is a defining moment in your life that is perfectly fine to make fun of on a comedy podcast. I think we can all stand up and say, well, where would we be if we didn't go out and get hit by ice cream trucks, paedophiled on the regular, and instead of playing those violent video games, we would get large sticks and beat each other mercilessly mercilessly. Rather than this, oh, he shot me in the video game with the shotgun and my head blood is all over the screen and now he's chainsawing my body and he's crouching and uncrouching, making it look like he's trying to bum me. Oh, what has the world come to? Back in our days, you could get a thing that looked like a gun and point it at your friends and go bang, and they'd fall over and go, I'm dead now, and then you'd pick up a stick and smack them hard in the face. Those were the days. Safer times.
It wasn't playtime unless somebody lost all their teeth.
Damn right, I remember falling off my bike and cracking my jaw into the hard pavement, splintering out my children's teeth. What do they call it? Milk teeth?
Yeah.
The first set of teeth? Yeah. Busting out the front 4 teeth all at once with blood pouring from my mouth and my nose. Those were the days, god damn it.
And I'll be honest with you, Theo, you have a much richer and more vibrant personality than these kids nowadays do, with all their safe video games and not getting paedophiled.
It's character building. Suffering is character building, I think is my point.
I think it's...
What we need is another war. What we need is a war, I think, because we haven't had one yet.
Yeah.
Well, we did, but we had 2, but we were like, I don't know, I was busy, I guess. What's the term? Oh yeah, I didn't want to enlist.
I was, in some ways, a conscientious objector, but in more ways than that, I was just really lazy and I didn't really fancy the army as a thing.
Yeah, I just really, really didn't want to go.
I mean, Afghanistan... It's just a bit hot, really.
Yeah, God, it's so hot, and I'm not too keen on the food. I think it's perfectly fine. I've just got a bit of a funny tummy.
Yeah.
I just need my creature comforts, which I get at home in front of my computer screen. You know, I get to watch YouTube and Netflix and play some video games and watch videos online and go on Reddit and all those things. I feel like I've contributed more to the world doing a podcast, but these kids today, bloody hell, what do they do?
They don't contribute.
No. They don't. Where are their podcasts? Shut up, don't tell me.
I think this is going back to a point that you've made in an earlier podcast that we give kids too much credit.
We do.
They can't do anything. I can do anything.
Yes.
Because I'm old and I have experience in things.
That's what we were told in our generation, which I believe is referred to by the historians as the greatest generation.
I think it's actually the Raddest Generation.
The Raddest Generation, damn right. Radical, bodacious.
The history books will always depict us as wearing backwards baseball caps and sunglasses.
Which is a little bit of a shame because I felt like we were probably a little bit too young to properly enjoy the 90s, and we were kind of too old to be true millennials, so...
We are the nowhere people.
We are the nowhere people.
Or the know-when people.
The know-when people. That sounds like a really good 80s sci-fi TV show, like made on a shoestring budget. And I suppose that's kind of defining of our generation. We got all the recycled tat from the 80s.
Yeah, we got 2 terrible Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movies with people dressed in latex costumes. And was it, which one, who was it? Was it Vanilla Ice did a turtle rap?
Oh, we actually got 3 of those films. Unfortunately, though, you can pretty much say the same of this generation, except they are CGI'd, and it is even worse.
So what you're saying is we should kill all the young people.
Well, I mean, let's not move on to Plan C quite yet. But this is going to be the theme that will run through the entire podcast, right?
Except my bits.
Except your bits. It will be the self-consciousness of people worrying about their age, because that is really interesting to hear. Don't you just love it when a friend has their birthday and they just look at their age and go, oh my God, I don't know about this. I mean, Jesus. This old? Another year? One more than last year? When is it gonna end? I just can't wait until this is all over. I feel so old. I'm old now. I'm old. Isn't that just so interesting to listen to? It's almost as if it's not gonna happen every single year. And it would make sense to get used to it now rather than whine about it for the rest of your life.
That is interesting. Let's do that for the whole podcast.
The whole now 2-hour-long podcast.
Oh, aren't we old?
I'm so old I forgot what I was talking about.
Yep. so close to the grave.
I can't focus. I watched cartoons in the 90s. I need, like, some horrible gunk to spurt out of something, or else I just don't understand. Remember, that's how things were.
That's a point that I've thought about recently, is what has happened to all the gunge? When we were kids, every TV show involved gunge in some capacity. It was like, oh, we'll pour gunge on your teacher, we'll let you slide down a slide into some gunge, we'll spray you with gunge while you go around on a little bike.
We'll just get like a plastic bucket full of gunge and just kind of drop it quite hard sometimes on someone's head, and it will all sort of go over them, but the bucket itself will sort of clonk quite nastily on their skull as well, but we'll all sort of laugh because you're on TV, so you don't want to look like a prick, so just suck it up.
No, nobody wants to look like a prick with a head wound.
Suck up that gunge.
Suck up the gunge.
Drink it. Yeah, you're supposed to drink it, right, when you fell in the pit?
I think so.
Drink their way out, or they live there now?
One of the two. I think they might have to stay in there, form some sort of cave while it solidifies around them, and then they just live there.
Why did the guy on Get Your Own Back have to point so much?
He just really wanted you to know where things were.
No, but he just pointed at the camera, like constantly, like every sentence. He just pointed, like switching hands from back and forth, and you can get your teacher in the gunge. You know you want it.
I think this was before we understood the necessity for subtlety in marketing and content. He was just desperately trying to get people engaged, and he seemed to think that the best way of doing that is to constantly reference the viewer by pointing. So it's sort of vaguely threatening. You think he's gonna like come to your house and just point at you while you're asleep.
Like, oh no, I don't hate my parents and want them thrown in the gunge pit, therefore he's gonna come and get me with a shiv.
He did look like the sort to come around your house with a shiv. He had big eyes.
He had very big eyes. He was good fun on the show, but he looked like he had a dark side. Like, he looked like he could get angry. He could turn at any minute when he was like, aren't you having fun? Isn't this gonna be good when some adult in your life gets humiliated and thrown into this pit that I've built, probably. Yeah, this'll be fun, right? And it sounded, almost like a threat, well, backstage, I wonder what's going on there. Maybe there's a producer, like, off screen somewhere, or like a runner who just sort of like takes the kid to one side and it's just like, just don't give him a reason. Okay, just don't give him a reason, and it will all be fine, and you'll get to go home. We'll get through this. It'll be okay.
And they also have someone up on the lighting rig with a tranquilizer gun.
Yeah.
Just ready, like, in case he just flips, and then you just have to, like, pump him full of horse tranquilizers. It was Dave Benson Phillips. That was his name.
Holy shit, yeah.
I don't know what he does now. I know that he goes around to student unions around the country and probably points at a lot of people, but it's more difficult for him because there's a live audience, so he has to literally like point at everyone at all times. So he has many prosthetic fingers. He seems like the kind of person who would probably have some kind of Get Your Own Back set in his back garden, but instead of gunge, it's quick drying cement, and instead of like, oh, hasn't your teacher been rude, he just drowns children in wet cement. This is speculation. I'm not saying that Dave Benson Phillips definitely drowns children in wet cement. I'm just saying he seems like the kind of person who would and could and probably does do that.
Yeah, I mean, that's not libelous, right? Because it's spoken.
Yeah.
That's just defamation.
Yes. Whatever is the less bad one, that is what this is.
Yeah, that's not even a lie because he probably does it. Also, what was the reasoning behind throwing the adults in the gunge? Because you said like, maybe they've been a bit of a prick or whatever. But had they really? Like, it was always just like, I don't like you because you are a teacher or you are my mum.
And I feel like people who you perceive to be disagreeable are going to be even more so once you have thrown them in some gunge.
Yeah, like I always thought that must be a really awkward car journey home.
Or a really awkward next day at school.
Yeah, just sort of like, so I have no good humour about that event.
Remember when you put me in the gunge?
Because I remember.
Detention forever.
And just every spelling test they get back, it's just a gungy handprint. Because it never comes off.
No, it is indelible gunge.
You are like the Swamp Thing after that. Remember in the Mask cartoon, there were those two guys. One was a fish and one guy was like made of mud or something.
I only vaguely remember the Mask cartoon in general.
There was a guy who was a fish and he had a mate who was like sludgy all the time. He was like really tall and he was kind of like the brawn. And then the fish could like talk and had glasses and stupid hair. And he was like the smart one. I can't remember what the fuck they were called. I think it was like Putty Thing and Fish Man, Fish Boy.
It does ring a bell. I'm just looking at the Wikipedia page for The Mask, the animated series. Discovered that there was a character in it called Gorgonzola the Cheese Witch.
Brilliant.
Yeah. It was Putty Thing and Fish Guy.
Ah, brilliant. Yeah, and the putty guy, he was like really sticky. That's kind of what you turn into when you've been gunged. You're just this sloppy mess of a monster man. It never comes off, you just generate it from your body.
Yeah.
So you can never wipe it off. That is your life now. Bit harsh. But did the Mask cartoon ever do a crossover with the Ace Ventura cartoon?
It must have done.
Because then it would have been animated Jim Carrey with another version of animated Jim Carrey. And they should have then done a crossover with the Dumb and Dumber cartoon to get the three, the Trinity.
The Carey Trinity.
How much was Jim Carrey in our childhood? Because I feel like he was in it far too much.
I think he was. I'm just looking. There was a crossover between The Mask and Ace Ventura.
Holy shit!
It was a 2-part episode. The first episode called The Ace Man Cometh, and the second episode called Have Mask Will Travel.
I think something that people older than us can relate to, because there are people even more ancient than us.
What?
I know, they're still knocking around somewhere, you know, on the borders of the realm. There's only a few left, but I hear that they had a crossover between the Teen Wolf cartoon and the Back to the Future cartoon. So they had two versions of Michael J. Fox on screen at one time.
So is Jim Carrey the Michael J. Fox of the 90s?
All of that will be baffling to the youth. Everything we've just said, they won't even understand it.
Yeah, they don't even remember The Mask, the film.
To be fair, I don't remember it that well. Was Cameron Diaz in it?
Yes. And the rapist
from Pulp Fiction, yes,
was the bad guy.
Yeah.
He was called Dorian, as far as I remember.
Is that film worth watching? I have not seen that since I was like 7.
What, The Mask?
Yeah.
I don't remember the last time I saw it. I think I've read the Wikipedia article of it more recently than I've watched the film.
I don't think anyone's watched the film since like 98. I think that was probably the last time anyone ever watched that film, and then no one watched it again. Like Wild Wild West.
Yeah.
Wiki Wawa. Remember that? That was a big film back in the day. No one watched it after, I don't know, 99?
No.
Maybe like 2000 at the latest.
Because it was also a terrible film.
Well, that doesn't matter.
Well, I suppose. People still watch The Room.
At one point, it was the biggest film, and then no one remembers it.
I think it was the most expensive film of all time, if I'm recalling correctly.
I think that's how it worked, yeah.
And still is. You could have sold Wild Wild West, Wiki Wild Wild, and bought a country. Thanks, Hollywood.
Back in episode 1, we sort of knocked around the idea of the Unrelatable podcast.
Have we done it?
I think we just did it.
Have we become peak unrelatable?
We just recorded half an hour of 90s nostalgic horseshit.
Yep.
Good for us.
I think we did it.
That will go down well with the people within the age range of about 3 years below us and maybe 3 years above us.
I think so.
Well, that's good, because that generation, this group of people right now, we're in power right now. We're on top. We're striving ahead. We've only got 3 years until we get marched into the mass graves by the young'uns.
Yep.
Into the furnace. Into the blasted lands.
The blasted lands.
Yeah.
Where the old folks go.
Yeah, we go everywhere. You get put in the woods and the sewers and the moon and the rocket ships and the nth dimension, you know, with Zool. Remember Zool?
I remember Zool. Do you know who doesn't remember Zool? Kids.
And do you know that Zool was just a big Chupa Chups lollipop advert?
No.
Yeah, because like all the stuff was like candy, it was like sweets. Yeah, it turns out that was sponsored by the lollipop people.
Yeah.
It's now obvious to me, and my little child's brain sort of died inside when I realised that. And I was like, oh God, it was all a fraud. But yeah. Anyway, this is relatable.
Zool.
Zool is not relatable.
Zool, sponsored by Chupa Chups.
So, finally, we shall move on to the recriminations and sentiments. Jesus Christ.
We're getting better.
Yeah, fuck! Anyway,
we did quite well last week. We got into recriminations and sentiments like 10 minutes in.
I know. I might re-edit this and put this at the end. Fuck it. Who wants to go first?
Well, I have some sentiments.
Okay.
Do you have recriminations or sentiments? Or is it difficult to tell?
Pass.
Okay. I'll go first, because at least mine are quantifiable as a thing. So I have 3 sentiments. So I'm just going to go for the first one. This podcast is fantastic. I always listen to it when I'm carrying out racially motivated murders and it almost drowns out the horrible noise of acid being poured into it. I may not have read that one all the way through before picking it.
We don't choose our fans, okay?
No, they choose us.
Yes, they come to us, okay? It's not our fault. You can't blame us. We're not in communication with these people.
No.
So any messages they take from us and any actions they perform, we're not liable, I think.
Yeah, I think that's how it works. But I'm just gonna... I feel like I need to skate over that one, because that one went badly. I'm just gonna go on to the next one.
Okay, yeah.
Also, very positive. The previous one sort of had a dark turn, but it's positive at the beginning.
There was a few bleak question marks over the last one. That shall go unanswered.
This one is probably better. I love Quality Irrelevant. The hosts have great chemistry, and the complete lack of any coherent structure really appeals to me as a sort of avant-garde statement against conformity and rules. Also, it gives me something to listen to when I'm buying hacksaws and bin bags at Wilco or hunting down my next fit fuck.
Well, I mean, that's just an eager fan right there. That's just someone who can't quite distinguish between the fun that we have on this show, between us two, and them, just wanting to get a little bit more involved. But that's fine. That's not a criminal act.
No, that's fine.
And fanatical. So, yes, that, Your Honour.
Etymology. That is my argument in court. Etymology, and then I just sit down.
Anyway, so we've got another one in the bleak pile.
Yeah. I feel like I don't pay enough attention to these when they first come to me.
It's easy to get excited.
I know.
I spend most of my week waiting for that little blip of a notification for when we actually get a single view for one of our many hours of content that we've put out.
Yeah.
And that just gives me a thrill that you would not believe. I mean, a high beyond all forms of elation that I've experienced beforehand up until that moment, that sweet, sweet moment of true existence and life. So I can totally understand getting carried away with some of these responses. It's not your fault.
Yeah.
But it's a bit of a shame that some of the responses may be, what's the term? Unsavoury.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, really. It sort of ruins it for the rest of us, but I'm going to put all of those behind me. I'm going to just finish off on a high note.
Good.
Quality Irrelevant is the best podcast out there, as long as you are a murderer. There may have been an issue. All of the comments I could find, there was something about murder.
I am annoyed by this. I'm annoyed that people would pigeonhole us in this way. Clearly, we're just appealing to a very narrow demographic, and that is homicidal maniacs.
But ones who have surprisingly good grammar and use of prose, above average linguistic skills, but far below average not murdering people skills.
I do talk about it a fair amount.
I know, it's like when it's all you talk about, like Quality Irrelevant, murder, it's just, I feel like maybe we don't want to be associated so closely with such a violent, illegal act.
Well, I mean, some of our comment threads, I mean, they've started to communicate and collaborate with various sort of ideas and methodologies, comparing notes. And I maybe don't want to mention this here, but I think there a few have been sort of planned out and enacted within the comment sections of some of our videos. So maybe we should keep a little bit of an eye on that. But that also means that a potential market opens up.
I'm not sure you can still call it comment threads. Like, when does a comment thread become a murderer's manifesto?
I think it's when they start using those weird little subheading things where each sentence has a reference to it. So for people, so they can quickly flick back through, so they can like get down all the important ideals of the doctrine. I think at that point, then it becomes a manifesto. I've thought about that a bit too much.
Yeah.
Quality irrelevant branded hatchets we should think about as a potential marketing avenue right there.
Do you think we could get sponsored by hatchets?
Just hatchets in general.
Yeah, hatchets, bin bags, bleach.
Bleach. Bleach is good. I use a lot of bleach.
I also use a lot of bleach.
If you unscrew your shower head and put bleach in there, then you get a nice sort of bleach wash every morning. It's quite good. I hear all the celebs are doing it. Strips off the surface layer of skin, so you feel renewed and rejuvenated.
And it's a quick way to get rid of all of that pesky hair.
Exactly. And the blood stains and any incriminating DNA evidence or whatever. So there's a tip.
Yeah.
For some of our listeners, a home domestic advice tips and tricks by Theo and Phil.
Is it possible to be sponsored by murder? I think there may be a conversation with legal in our future.
Are they still around?
I don't remember what happened to them last time we talked about them. Were they in some kind of vat?
If someone is described as being in a vat, is there any chance they are still alive?
Well, if it's a vat of cryogenic preservation goo, then yes. If it's a vat of mostly anything else, then probably not. If it's an empty vat, they might be alive.
They just live in there now.
They live in a vat.
Yeah. I am annoyed.
Why are you annoyed?
Because I'm going to read out the recrimination and or sentiment that I received. And it's going to sound as if we almost colluded on this.
I can assure you, viewer, we did not.
No.
We don't put nearly that much thought into this podcast.
No, but there will be some suspicion. It's almost as if we are of one brain, which is an idea I think I brought up beforehand, and we shall look into at some other point, that we may share one mind across two bodies. But I shall launch into this feedback without looking backwards, all right? So, I know that I am not alone when I say that this podcast changed my life. Before, I was racked by sadness, emotional pain, and Japanese encephalitis. However, all that changed as soon as I let this beautiful podcast into my heart. Now all is clear. I worship at the altar of my new blood deity until it is time for me to cleanse the world of the unbelievers. My sacred mission shall tear through the innocent like a chainsaw rampage through the Care Bears. All shall be clean, all shall perish, all will be nothing, pain will be all, and all will be pain. 4 out of 5 stars.
I like that. I'm considering taking all shall perish as our new tagline.
That was very on the nose, wasn't it?
Maybe iTunes description. Quality irrelevant. All shall perish.
I feel like we should give this young up-and-coming star a job in copy.
I think we should. I feel like we might get into some tricky situations there because then we have to put a dark god prayer room in somewhere where they can sit in the dark and worship Cthulhu.
Well, this is a cosmopolitan workplace. We have all sorts here. We don't discriminate based on religious beliefs, but this young star has clearly impressed me here. He's written very, very well, very complimentary on the podcast. And I just have to say, I totally didn't take excerpts from a Netflix review for a Star Trek documentary, The Captain, starring William Shatner, and appropriate that for our podcast. I didn't do that at all.
No, we've never done anything like that.
No.
Never even done it 3 times in an episode before.
I do like when the conversation tails off and I can hear the bumper music in my head. I'm just thinking, that's a cut.
Do you do that in our everyday conversations?
I'm thinking I might do. And then it's great, now we can switch topics seamlessly without actually having to have a, what do you call it? A, Segue! That's it. Those things that we don't do and are not allowed.
Yeah, we have a rule against them.
And I actually have to admit, this is a bit of real talk now. I'm going to dish some real talk, right? It does actually annoy me when we have a proper segue, because it makes it really difficult to edit, because it means that those two sections are connected, and I can't, 1, shift them around, and 2, I can't drop any of them, because then it doesn't make sense. If you segue into a topic, then it means you didn't properly introduce it, which means you rely on the previous topic to get you there, which means both have to go in the podcast. It's sometimes really annoying.
I feel like it's a fairly rare occurrence, though.
Yeah, oh yeah, no.
We very, very rarely segue properly from one section section to the next, it's usually more like trail off, awkward silence, then right, next section.
That makes it so much easier to deal with, though. I love the silence. I stand by that I said back in episode 2 or whatever the fuck it was. The silence really is the best part. It makes it so much easier to edit, dear God. Segues. There was a podcast where we managed to segue from every section into the next. Jesus, that was a whore to edit it down. Fucking hell. Like 1 hour and 40 minutes of just segued flowing horseshit. How the hell do you get that down to 50 minutes if every sentence relies on the previous one? My God.
God damn our professionalism.
Right, shit, we need to get back into this or we're just going to bullshit for the next hour. So, I have 2 things. I have a Jurassic Park film review. I don't know why I said Jurassic Park film review. It's a film review, or it's a review of Jurassic Park, rather. It's not a Jurassic Park film review. It's not a film review of a random film, but Jurassic Park themed. Or I have a Patrick Fabian film pitch.
I think we've got to go Patrick Fabian film pitch, haven't we?
I think you're probably right, and we'll only go with the Jurassic Park thing if we completely run out of steam. Even then, Jurassic Park is only somewhat thematically similar because old dinosaurs. Oh well. So, Patrick Fabian film pitch.
Can I ask you a quick question before we start?
Go on.
Is this going to be as fucking torturous as the last one of these that you did?
No.
Okay.
No. I really got involved in the last one, but you're right, I got too excited. I basically planned out or wanted to go through the entirety of a film.
I feel like we were not that far off just like a shot list.
Now, unfortunately, I have to admit, most of my film pitches will be like this. Essentially, it will be me describing a scene or two and then sort of getting bored with the idea and just being like, and that for the rest of the film. Like, I feel like if I can lay out a good scene or two, a few good lines of dialogue, that's where the soul of the film is. That's where the heart is, and you sort of get that. But really, I should just do a bit of that, and then you sort of understand, like, that's enough. It's almost like, when you do a film pitch, sometimes they do a bit of a script read. They read off a few lines. Anyway, you're right, I'll try and tighten it up. But we're learning, Phil. We're learning. We're growing.
We are both learning and growing. That is true.
Yes, although listening to some of my film pitches may actually make your brain stop growing and shrink somewhat, but, what are you going to do? So, Patrick Fabian plays working in an office American man. The film begins with American man doing his job in his office in which he works. He wears a shirt with a tie. He spends his days working at his desk, filing reports. Oh, I've just got to file all these reports, or I'll be in trouble with the suits upstairs. And Patrick Fabian says this, directly to the camera. Many years pass, and he does all right for himself and his job. He files reports on time, and he keeps his head down, and he gets to take home a steady paycheck that his wife, played by Taylor Swift, spends on groceries and sundries, and the occasional steak dinner as a treat. It's a quiet life, but working in an office American man gets by. Until one day, his manager, played by Sean Pertwee, comes by his office. And he slams the door against American Man's desk, a bit too hard, if you ask me. Oi, oi, Savaloy, I fucking love these reports, son. Oh, thank you, sir, I've been doing this for so many years. Well, these are filed just the way I like them. And he looks up at American Man. Oh, fuck, you're old. And he is. American Man is now old.
Can I just say, I do enjoy the repeat appearance of Aloysius Fuckman. I'm glad he's back in my life.
I think what's going to happen now is that Sean Pertwee actually has an alter ego, which is Aloysius Fuckman. So whenever he appears in a film, like with the Daniel Craig or whatever, whenever he's in a film, you're like, oh, he must be James Bond. You see Sean Pertwee in a film, you're like, okay, Aloysius Fuckman is back to his old tricks.
See, I would like it if it was, his credit was then Sean Pertwee as Aloysius Fuckman as Alfred the Butler in Gotham.
Well, it is a bit weird that he actually tends to be in more sort of working class or serving roles, or, he's never the leading man, and yet I tend to place him in high power, upper society roles. I don't really know what's going on with that, but still, Aloysius Fuckman has noticed the decrepit age of American Man, as American Man is now old. The years have stolen his youth, and now he has an old man with grey hair and wrinkled skin. So he is obviously fired immediately for being too old.
Obviously.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's just the world we live in.
Because Aloysius Fuckman don't take no old bitches in his company.
Damn right, and in fact, that's plastered on the front of the building. And they don't just mean, like, above the entrance, I mean up the side of the skyscraper.
Literally where you have, like, the name of the company in big letters, but it says Aloysius Fuckman don't have no old bitches in his company.
Damn right, it's called Corporate Company, is the name of the company, and then that just, like, bigger than the name, I would say. So, as American Man is cleaning out his office, and he's putting his award for being the best in the office at report filing award into his cardboard box, American Man has a revelation. He has wasted his life. Everything he has is fine, but he has yearned for so much more. He now realizes that his home, his marriage, his kids, his job are all meaningless to him and unfulfilling. He picks up his award and hurls it at the wall, screaming, "I've wasted my life and now I am old. I want another chance. I want to do all the things I ever wanted. I want to be young again, live free, take risks and grow old in wealth and luxury," he says to no one. Or so we think.
Can I just interject slightly here?
Yeah.
So I like to imagine lots of different elements of the film as you're speaking. What I'm imagining at the moment is the costume design. I'm imagining Patrick Fabian as regular office American Man, or whatever he's called.
Working in an office American Man.
Working in an office American Man.
First name, working in an office. Second name, American Man.
Okay. I'm imagining him dressed exactly the same, like down to the colour of the tie and like the width of stripe on his shirt as Michael Douglas in Falling Down.
Yes.
With the weird semi-flat top haircut.
Yeah, and the short sleeve shirt.
Yeah.
It's got to be short sleeve, not rolled up sleeves.
Yeah.
Short sleeved.
Rolled up sleeves, I think, represents a sort of a go-getter.
Yeah, a bit too into his role. Short sleeve is just a man who has given up on life.
Yes. Ground down by corporate America, so he can't even wear long sleeves anymore.
In this case, corporate America is Sean Pertwee.
Yeah. The very vision of corporate America who says, "Fuck off, you slag."
Exactly, and that's what he says, he's just like in the background walking past. So yes, American Man has his outburst and wishes for a life of wealth and luxury. And as he says this, from off screen, we hear a voice say, "That can be arranged."
Oh my god, he was talking to Morgan Freeman.
No.
Oh.
American Man spins round to see, standing in the doorway, it is James Spader now, dressed in an expensive black suit with a dark coat draped over his shoulders, a hat, and he's holding a cane with a skull on the top of it. "What? Where did you come from? And who are you, mysterious stranger?" "Oh, never you mind that. But I may have a proposition for you, American Man."
Can I just say your voice work is impeccable as usual.
Thank you. Yeah, I've got these accents and impersonations down to a T.
Yeah, it's like I was in a room with James Spader.
Yeah.
And Patrick Fabian.
Oh, yes.
And Sean Pertwee.
Of course.
All at the same time.
Yeah, all together.
Having sex with each other.
While this is going on, Sean Pertwee is just having incredible sex with the hot secretary, played by Glenn Close, just in the background.
And just repeatedly shouting, "Oh, bollocks, mate!"
And that's just going on. But, it's tastefully done. So, James Spader is all like, "Oh, never you mind that. But I may have a proposition for you, American Man. I can give you what you desire for a price." "What? Well, this is very unusual. What's the catch?" "Oh, you'll see." As the screen goes all wibbly-wobbly and fades to black. Some text fades in, reading 70 years later. And it is American Man again. He is the same age as before, but now he is sitting by the pool of his mansion.
Is he still dressed like Michael Douglas in Falling Down?
A little bit. He's wearing Bermuda shorts, but he's got the same shirt, but it's open now. The tie's undone. And he's got the same glasses, but they're sunglasses now, and they're on top of his head. He is surrounded by friends and family, and he is happy and smiling. He has a tan and a cocktail in his hand. And his wife, played by Leslie Bibb, is lying next to him. And he says basically to everyone, but kind of to the audience, well, I did it. I lived a life to the full. I've got everything I ever wanted. Money, adventure, fame, and above all, Leslie Bibb. I love you, Leslie. And she's all like, oh, thanks, but I'm now gonna run because I'm the president, as I have a narrative arc that's completely independent from yours, or else this would be a sexist stereotype role. So I'm just gonna go and address a nation, and I'll see you for cocaine and sex later on. And she just leaves, and we never see her again.
Is Leslie Bibb very Cockney?
She has a very long face, as you pointed out.
She does have a very long face.
Yes. Anyway, that was an impeccable Leslie Bibb impersonation, I will have you know.
Yep.
So then he's all like, it's all perfect, but you know, I'd love to do it again. Well, that can be arranged. And once more, we see James Spader, but he is like in his expensive suit and coat, but he's just like swimming in the pool, like doing a backstroke. He just like swims onto the screen. Well, it's you again, the man from before. Well, I can give you what you want, but there'll be a price. And then everything fades to black. And then that just happens again. And then that is the film.
Does it just keep happening over and over again?
Yeah.
Until the film just sort of ends?
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
It's like if Groundhog Day was just like really, really bad.
I wouldn't say that. You know, it's got a moral lesson. It's got, you know, something we can all take away. It's got a point. There's a cutting commentary on the modern world and society and, you know, the roles that we all adhere to and our place. I think it's quite good.
And it has a James Spader in it.
It has James Spader in it, who demands a price every single time he sends Patrick Fabian, you know, back into a new life.
Do we ever find out what the price is?
What?
Does he, like, have no bollocks or something?
Oh, you want to know about the price?
Yeah. Sort of. I feel like it's a narrative loose end.
Okay. But we've got Leslie Bibb, so, you know, I think the audience will quite like that.
Yeah. Can I propose some extra actors to be in this film?
All right.
I feel like what it is missing is more actors.
I know, I just wanted that sequence to sort of like repeat 3 to 4 times.
You know, when all his friends and family are around him.
Oh, yeah, yes, go on.
Can we just have his friends and family just be like different groups of people every time?
Yeah, okay.
Okay, I would like the following actors to be in this film.
Shoot.
John Carroll Lynch.
The Zodiac.
I would like John Delancey.
Yeah, Q.
Yeah, I would like...
Oh, can John Delancey be in his Q uniform? And can Patrick Stewart be there as well? And Patrick Stewart is just on all fours with like a collar around him. He's just like eating dog food. And then Q is just like, are you enjoying the dog food, Captain? And then Patrick Stewart is just like, oh, I hate this. I just hate this, Q. And then Q is like, good. I'm glad that you dislike it, Captain.
Frankly, I'm disappointed that you had to ask that question. I would also like Dylan Baker.
Can he be half zombie?
Yes, but lengthways.
Okay, yeah. Go on then.
This is a bit of a curveball. I would like Robert Patrick to be in this film.
What's he done lately?
Probably something.
Oh, does he still have the hooks from when he was a T-1000? Does he still have to wear those at all times? You know, like the metal things that I assume were fused onto his arms when he chased after the car.
I'm sure he probably does.
Oh, there'll be like a funny bit where he's like trying to pick up a martini glass. We all know how bad they are.
Yeah.
And he's like trying to pick one of those up and he can't, and then he's like clattering his scary T-1000 hooks all over the place and everyone laughs.
Yep.
Like not with him, like at him. So like, you are different. You are different than the rest of us. You don't fit in.
Yeah, because I feel like the one thing that the movie-going public enjoys is laughing at people who are different.
Yeah, and seeing Robert Patrick humiliated.
Yeah.
Just weeping openly on screen.
Yeah.
And in fact, when we shoot this on set, I'll tell some of the runners and some of the grips, when they're setting things up, just give them a little dig in the ribs. You know, when they're up on one of the rigging things, just stand quite hard on like the inside of his side, like sort of on the pelvis bit, and then sort of look down and go, oh, sorry.
And like maybe like accidentally just like drop a lighting rig on him.
Yeah, not like a heavy one. It won't kill him, but it will give him a nasty scar.
I have 3 more actors I would like to be in this film.
Go on.
I would like Gerard Butler.
Yeah. Is he the one who wears a kilt?
Yes. I would also like Mark Strong to be in this podcast, to be in this film. I may have had too much whiskey at this point.
I really want him on the podcast. Do you think we get Mark Strong on the podcast?
I can probably do a passable impression of Mark Strong.
Go on then.
Hello. I think that was good.
Yeah, that was almost like he walked into the room.
I don't understand Mark Strong. It seems a bit cockney, but also a bit posh.
He's kind of in between. He's like, oh, he's a Londoner. But he's also, you could see him working in relatively successful estate agents, I'd say. You know, someone at the top, like he deals with the money.
Yeah, like he lives in like a townhouse in Chelsea, but at the same time he does call people you naughty bastard. And so the final actor I would like in this film is Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
She could be the butler.
I'd like her to say lots of curse words.
Okay. Do you get like a horn on for when she swears?
I can neither confirm nor deny, but yes, I absolutely do. Oh, say more swears, Julia Louis-Dreyfus. I'm going to watch Veep and do stuff. That was an impression of no one in particular.
I think we can tweet that at her. That's absolutely fine. That's not harassment. Yeah, okay. So during this family and friends scene, we've got the T-1000 in the background struggling to pick up a glass with all the crew like laughing at him and all the other actors just like pointing. We've got Gerard Butler there with a caber just sort of like drinking from the stomach of a sheep. And then we've got James Spader in like full clothing just doing the backstroke in the pool. Who else? Julia Louis-Dreyfus sort of like swearing horrifically, just saying some of the worst stuff like monkey bum at the camera. Well, not even at the camera, just at the sky, at the world, at nature, at God. Who else? We got Sean Pertwee. Was he a butler or something at one point?
He's Aloysius Fuckman. We also have John Carroll Lynch, the Zodiac Killer.
Yeah, the Zodiac Killer. He's just hanging out in the back there with his overalls and his, what was it, size 9 feet, I think?
Yeah.
I need to see that film again. And maybe invite Mark Ruffalo around for a bit and he can sort of like eat hummus in the back.
Yeah, and while looking sort of a bit slightly twitchy and nervous.
Yeah, sort of wringing his hands. Like,
yeah.
It's not so much that he's afraid of something, he's more afraid of what he can do, but we've no idea why.
No.
I have no way to end this pitch. This is just going to sort of like peter out into nothing.
Well, I'll do the Hollywood executive again if you're not careful. I might be too drunk.
Yeah, I think you're probably too drunk. Okay, basically, after this happens like 3-4 times, and we'll just get Patrick Fabian to look at the camera and go, hey, the point of the film was respect the old and the dying, because one day you could reincarnate as one of them. I was every character in the film. That was the point of it. So, remember kids, respect your parents. Always do what they tell you. And never ever work in an office like me. And then he just like makes out with Leslie Bibb.
I like that. That sort of thing that we don't really get over here in the UK, but you get it a lot in American shows and not so much films. I think they should probably introduce it to films where they have like a PSA at the end.
Yeah.
Where they cover like a serious issue like drugs or prostitution. And then at the end they just go, we've had a lot of fun tonight, but prostitution is a serious issue. Don't do a prostitute unless you have lots of money and can pay them well.
Yeah, so it's like when the Sesame Street gang sort of like kill a hooker or whatever.
Yeah, I think they should start doing that in films as well. Like go, the moral of this film was don't kill hookers.
So what, at the end of Batman v Superman, we should just like have them all link arms. They're doing that half hug thing around the waist.
I like the idea that they're on a stage, like at the end of Saturday Night Live, where they just say thank you to everybody, but the band is playing really loud and no one can hear who they're thanking.
Yeah.
But they're just going, so Batman v Superman, what did we learn from this? Don't be a Batman. It's naughty. You can be a Superman if you want, but don't kill literally 1 million people.
I kind of think that is the message to take away from that actual film, though. I haven't seen it. I have not heard good things, but that could be it. In fact, we should have directed that film.
Yeah, we would have done a PSA at the end.
Yeah, we'd have done the exact same film, but just with that. Can you imagine how much better that film would be? I haven't even seen it, but like after having 2.5 hours of your life wasted, akin to one of my Patrick Fabian films, how much better it would be if at the end you just got like...
When you have big muscles like mine, don't be a bully. If you want to kill millions of people who are in an office building because you've thrown an alien through it, that's fine, but don't push people in the playground, you pricks.
And don't look like a huge straining scrotum when you get all muscly. I'm sort of thinking we should have somehow taken all that money that went to that film and funded some of our more ambitious film projects that we've come up with.
And made the Patrick Fabian Don't Be a Dick to the Old movie extravaganza.
Was that the point?
Is that the title?
Oh, I didn't even come up with a title. Okay, the title is See How Old You Can Get.
I like it. It's sort of like a challenge to the viewer. See how old you can get. It's a good message for the kids as well, because it's like, take this as a challenge to see how old you can get. Don't skateboard into a canyon and run in front of a ice cream van.
Yeah. I think the message of my film is actually do whatever you want because you're going to be reincarnated somehow by James Spader.
Yeah. This film has very mixed messages is what I'm getting from you.
I'm a bit annoyed you didn't pick up, or at least didn't care to... Well, okay, actually, you know what? It makes complete sense you wouldn't even comment on the fact there is no explanation for James Spader, who he is, why this is happening. You did mention the price, how that wasn't resolved in any way.
Yeah, I just sort of assumed that it was actually just James Spader. James Spader seems like the kind of person who would turn up at your house and just go, you can have what you want for a price, and then sort of just run off into the night laughing maniacally like an insane schoolboy.
Yeah, and then never ever claim a price.
Yeah.
That was a weird film.
That's the end of that section.
I thought it would be funny to just trail off and like not have a proper end and not finish my film pitch, but it was just kind of underwhelming. So I don't think I'm going to do that ever again. I think I'm going to try and cut it down and actually write a complete arc.
Yeah, you should maybe think about an end at some point.
I wanted to get a degree of outrage from you, just in terms of, okay, this is bullshit anyway, but I want you to at least adhere to the basic tenets of filmmaking. But I think your opinion of my ideas is so low that wasn't even, you didn't even contemplate that as a possibility.
Oh, no, I never for a second even considered the possibility that your film idea might be in any way good.
Damn it. Okay, I need to subvert your expectations here. I think that's how we improve this.
You do. Like next week you need to do like the greatest film pitch of all time, and then I might quit this podcast.
I don't think I can do a film pitch, but I might be able to do a TV show.
That is allowed. Is it some sort of like HBO epic?
I am reluctant to give any information of any kind.
Give a tease for the viewers for next week.
Okay, imagine Patrick Fabian, but he has a liking for a certain condiment.
Ooh, tune in next week to find out which condiment and then immediately turn off the podcast.
Yeah, it is quite funny how a lot of YouTubers... We're shifting topic right now. We've moved on.
This is a segue.
Fuck segues, man. Jesus. It is funny how YouTubers, right, will use the phrase tune in next time or tune in next week. There's no tuning involved. Like, I understand the phrase and it is almost somewhat twee or it's kind of fun, and let's face it, these are people who who are our age or older, who use this phrase of like, tune in next time, because that's what we were used to when we grew up. But it is bullshit. It means nothing now.
Yeah, and it's as nonsensical as if partway through the video they just went, if you're just joining us, there's no way that would happen. Like, nobody just starts a YouTube video halfway through.
Yeah, it's almost like recording a digital podcast and putting radio static in it as if it's some sort of analog broadcast that's going out. It's somehow funny or clever.
Yeah, what kind of fucking anuses of the highest order would do that kind of thing?
Yeah, it's almost like you're just taking well-known sounds and ideas and inserting them into something that is lacking in terms of overarching theme or content or idea, and you're sort of substituting those things for just some sort of relatable, nebulous concept of, oh, this is kind of like something that you like, so maybe, hopefully something will come from that. That's all that is. So fuck YouTube, right?
Yeah, fuck everything.
Yeah, although this podcast does actually currently go out on YouTube, so...
Should we just ban everything?
That would make for a very difficult podcast.
The rules are nothing! 90 minutes of silence every week.
Phil, you know me. I'm always one for a challenge. But that is literally insane. Is it possible to do a podcast that is just nothing? Silence. But that's already been done. Who's that composer who did the...
Was it 4 minutes 33 or something?
Yeah. That's been done.
Fuck.
Although I think whilst some people... Well, I'm doing that thing about types, where I'm like, some people make this comment. When actually it's like one person I heard once said it and it annoyed me, and so I project that onto every single person in the world. And we can all feel better about ourselves by sort of cathartically just expressing how shit everyone else we perceive everyone else to be. It's not that they are that way, it's just we perceive that, so it actually just speaks to our own flaws. But no doubt someone has made the comment like, 4 minutes 30 seconds of silence? Well, I can do that right now, and I don't even have to buy the song or the record or whatever, how iTunes works, I don't know. No, the point of it, you fucktard, is that you all get together in your finery and your gear and you go to the concert hall and you all get together and you see the musician people on the stage and they're there in all their finery and all their instruments and shit, and they get ready and they go... and then silence, and you get to listen to all the stuff around you. The point being that a room full of that many people is never silent. You know, it's like you get to hear the gurgling of the fat man next to you because he hasn't eaten in the past 30 minutes or whatever. You get to hear all like the coughing and the sniffling and the breathing and all these sounds that you don't normally focus on. It's a very meditative experience. Unless you get a bad one and there's a guy next to you who's just furiously masturbating beneath his coat that he's got over his lap. But you can hear it's the side of the hand on fabric that sort of, it's not quite a fap noise, but it's just like a tugging. It's like, it's exactly the same as if a toddler approached you and was tugging on your trousers in order to get your attention, but just furiously doing it over and over again. It's that sound.
I mean, that happens to me so many weeks in a row. You just kind of become numb to it.
Yeah, well, like a toddler walks up to you, pulls on your trousers to get your attention, and someone turns around and goes, oh, you sound like you're masturbating.
No, the person near you masturbating thing happens to me all the time. I don't know what it is. People just masturbate near me. It's a real issue in my life.
Do you release some sort of scent?
Possibly. Not on purpose. I don't sort of squirt it out.
Maybe you've got like an extra gland somewhere that produces like some hormone.
I think that's probably the only explanation for why people are constantly wanking near me. I'll be honest, like, I just sort of drift off partway through while you were talking about 4 minutes 33 seconds or whatever it's called, and I have been reading a webcomic called The Adventures of Business Cat. Didn't you have an ad to finish it off?
Oh, I do have an ad. Okay, so I'm just going to have another swig of whiskey. I need to get into my radio voice. Horrible.
Can you do it in like a Don LaFontaine style of "In a World"?
That was fucking brilliant. You should do all the trailers from now on.
It'll get worse and worse as time goes on until like there's one where it's just If you could see my face at that point, then you would be terrified, and you may never be sexually aroused again in your life.
It does sound like you make a good lich.
Yep. If anyone listening or viewing this podcast is involved in, I don't know, World of Warcraft or something,
Lichdom,
then email me, tweet me, Facebook me.
I would like your official job title to be Voice of Lich.
Phil Boomer, Voice of Lich.
Damn right, that would be good. That is solid gold right there. That is brilliant. You can just get on the stage and just go, I am a lich.
I started doing an impression of Ian McKellen. I think it started off actually being relatively accurate, but now it's become ridiculous.
Okay, go on.
So it was, you know, the terrible X-Men movie that we don't talk about, The Last Stand.
Oh, yeah.
You know, there's a bit in that where it's like Magneto's last line in it, where he's like looking at all the people dying and that.
Oh, and he says like, what have I done or something?
Yeah, it was always of that line, and it just got more and more like over dramatic every time I did it until I just started going, what have I done? That is my impression of Ian McKellen.
I honestly thought that Ian McKellen might have stepped into your room at that point.
And then me and my better half watched all of the extended versions of Lord of the Rings, and we started just saying Mordor all the time.
Oh, that is a great joke. Wasn't I supposed to be doing an ad read?
Yeah.
And then Ian McKellen came up and stuck his old penis into everything. Okay, so, this episode of Quality Irrelevant was brought to you by Audible.com. Audible has more than 180,000 assault rifles and handguns for you to enjoy. Get a free 30-day trial by going to audible.com/qualityirrelevant. Audible is a great way to arm yourself to the teeth. Whether you are doing chores or running errands, there are many times in your life that you would be better off with a Beretta tucked into your belt and a semi-automatic in your hands, gunning down hordes of innocent bystanders at your local shopping centre. I'm a big fan of armor-piercing rounds, just in case the fun is spoiled by one of those Kevlar-clad police officers who just won't go down. This brings me to my personal recommendation, the AR-15, lightweight and maneuverable. This rifle is fully customizable and will help you protect your Second Amendment rights. So if you're in the mood to kick off the revolution, check out audible.com. Using offer code This Is Really Tasteless for your 30-day trial. Once more, that's offer code Seriously Will Get Letters at audible.com. Thanks to Audible for sponsoring the show. Oh shit, that was actually for Shoot 'em Up Motherfuckers.
Ah,
damn it.
To be fair, I always get those two websites confused.
Oh well, they got the message. I mean, they've
yeah.
Shit. Oh well. I mean, the check's already cleared, so
yeah, we're fine.
Yeah.
Audible for all your bullet-riddled needs.
Can we get sued for this?
Probably. I think we're too small to be sued.
Too small to fail. That's our motto.
Nobody cares enough about this podcast to sue us.
You'd think, right?
The day that we get sued is the day that we fucking celebrate. That's the day we pop the champagne because we've finally become, at least in some way, relevant.
That is the fucking thing though, right? Because, one, I never want to be relevant because that's against the mission statement.
Oh, yeah.
But it's also, this isn't a profit deal. I think that's where most people run into the pitfall. If you're making money off something and you defame someone, then that's really bad. If someone sues us for a percentage of our profits, I mean, good fucking luck. Have a percentage of nothing.
Yeah.
Enjoy your paycheck for £0 and 0 pence. A fraction of zero is still zero.
Yeah, which I think, I'm not 100% sure on this, but I think what that means is that we win.
I think that means that we have all the power. Fuck! That was the point of my film!
The olds have all the power.
Like, if
you are an old, then it's okay.
Shit. For a flash second there, I had a clear vision of the meaning of everything, and then it left because whiskey. Okay, I think we can end there.
This episode of Quality Irrelevant is brought to you by whiskey.
It fucking wasn't all. That did most of the work.
Fuck!